migrantes, pues aquí estoy. Total catastrophe, and it is a crisis. Of a child, right there. All these NGOs, you're fake. It is this, the crisis of children. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. It is nice to say hello to you guys on this January 8th of the year 2024. My God, 2024. We are on the year 2024. Bringing you guys another live stream for everybody to have an opinion and listen. If you guys want to talk about it, or you guys want to basically give a opinion so we can put it on screen and discuss what is going on. More migrants are disappearing, and the question is where they're disappearing. A lot of people are going to be just saying we don't care, the typical inhuman individuals that says we have a lot of problems on my own, we don't care. But these are human beings. Whatever we are, it's our agenda. These are human beings. Whatever we are, whatever it's our narrative, these are human beings. We're Christians, right? So we worried about one person and another. And this is the situation by itself, disappearing in terms to, I will go by the continent of America, disappearing in terms to Central and South America. A lot of migrants are disappearing in the parts of the Darien Gap. There has been multiple reports of migrants, not making it. This incentivized migration by the Biden administration, the most inhuman administration ever. I just saw a commercial of, of Biden with Barack Obama. What does Barack Obama have to do on this commercial? It basically tells you who's running the show, man. I don't want to be a conspiracy, like the leftists say, a conspiracy theories and whatever you want to say. But it is just, it tells you inevitably who is running, who is running the disaster of the United States of America. And it is just, it looks like it. You have Obama on the screen and basically speaking for Joe Biden. Joe cannot even speak a word. It's so sad. But, this is another situation which is, I'm meaning disappearing in terms to the natural disasters, in terms to, let's go by the Darien Gap. There is a massive flood right now in rain inside of the Darien. Massive. And ultimately, this has created a crisis inside of the Darien Gap. I've been in there 3 times. It's really difficult to walk when it's muddy, when it's raining. And ultimately, right now, there is multiple reports by several connections that we have, and also authorities, and also not only that, migrants themselves, that they send me continuous messages through my Instagram and my TikTok, saying to me, Oscar, my brother has disappeared, my mother has disappeared, my son has disappeared. They say that the river took this family. It's so sad for this to continue. It is just a humanitarian, inhuman business for these coyotes, for these traffickers. But ultimately, the Biden administration, it is just a complete disaster. They do not care if people lose their lives in Central and South America. They really do not care. Talk about depopulation of migrants, man. It's just sad. That's the word. And I'm sorry if I'm coming out strong with this language, if I'm just saying the way it is. It's just, still, migrants are continuing to risk their lives in the Darien Gap, and they're losing their lives in the Darien Gap. Now we go to Central America, and there's a lot of kidnappings going on right now, a lot of extortions and towards migrants. And just recently, there was a huge amount of migrants that they were kidnapped in the part of Tamaulipas, close to the border of Matamoros. They were recently released. These were migrants from Venezuela, the majority of them, and they paid a certain amount of money, possibly, to be released by the cartel. There's no other way to be released by just paying an exacerbated amount of money. And it's just sad the way that they're continuously migrants are disappearing, in terms to numbers, in terms to catastrophes, in terms to crisis, in terms to whatever it is. It's just so sad. Really, it's sad. And because we have a humanitarian crisis, this is a humanitarian crisis. It's not like that. I've been calling this humanitarian crisis since 4 to 5 years ago. I've been saying this from 4 to 5 years ago. I've been saying this is a humanitarian crisis. It's not a migrant crisis. This is a humanitarian crisis, and you know, it's just it's just so bad. It really is bad, and I really do not understand what is the actual uh, situation in terms to fixing this, because it's so simple, and still they do not want to do anything about it. You got 60 plus Republicans going to the border and speak on this. House Speaker Mike Johnson, you see Jim Jordan right there, and you see the average Republican right here on the screen. And if I start saying something about these Republicans that they went down there, the Republicans get upset. The Republicans get mad. The Republicans get butthurt. The same Republicans that they're criticizing Democrats because they're snowflakes, because they cannot take it, and as soon as you tell them the truth, they're signaled as a progressive liberal. Those same Republicans, they cannot handle the truth. Also, some of the Republicans, they cannot handle the truth about what these Republicans are doing in the border of Eagle Pass. I understand everybody's trying to unite, and the justification of the average Republican, and I criticize hardly the Democrats, and you guys know more than anything, but the justification of the average Republican, it is this: the Democrats are blocking us, Oscar. The Democrats are blocking Abbott. The Democrats are doing that. Stop with your whining. You know how much money these 60 plus Republicans spent on going down there, and basically how much they did, how much money they spent on going down to the Eagle Pass sector, to the Del Rio sector, and what has been done. After these 60 plus Republicans that went down there and stood there in front and speaking on a pedestal, and everything that they're saying is true. It's factual. They're talking about stay in Mexico policy. They're talking about this. They're talking about that. And you're like, okay, I know that you're just preaching to the choir everything that we have talked about for years, everything that we have said, everything that we have done, and the justification to say at least they went. That is the average. You know, that's a loser justification. I'm sorry, with all respect. Whoever justifies themselves but say, well, at least they went over there, at least they did something, what they did. It's like participating in a race and not going with the mentality that you're going to win, and just going with the mentality to say, at least I participated. It's like running for president and saying, oh, I lost, but at least I participated. I give it all my all. No, you're there to win. Stop with this loser mentality. You're there to win. This is what has every country divided, that we have become so pandered, that we have become so comfort, that we have become so soft and so weak because of these leaders that they're put in Congress and Senate, and that they're spreading the same thing every day. You know that we have a problem. on the U.S. side and on the Mexico side. I'm talking about the U.S. side particularly. I'm a Mexican citizen, but I have the freedom to speak. So I'm talking about the U.S. side. You know that you have a problem, a huge problem. More migrants are dying, more people are dying. You know that you have a problem. Why not damn fix it? It's the Republicans, it's the Democrats they're blocking. It's Joe Biden that is blocking, is doing this, is doing that. You know what to do, man. It's simple. You know what to do. If you're saying the Democrats, they don't go there, they don't go to the border, they don't do this, they don't do that. You know, the congressional Democrats, they don't go to the border. Uh, you know, somebody's asking, Oscar, have you documented the missing migrants? Yes, I have. A lot of them. A lot of them. My God, a lot of them. A lot of them missing. As a matter of fact, let me just tell you right here, Denise, it's your name. Let me just go right here to my message box on Instagram. Let me just put you one right here. Where is it? And I'm taking the time just to give you just an evidence of how many there are in my inbox every single day. This is a conversation between me and the sister of a migrant that sent me a picture of this. That's his brother, and that is his brother-in-law that they were lost in the Darien Gap. Where can you find the info? All my platforms. I don't have specifically a written article about it because it's an everyday thing. It's an endless list about it. It's an endless list about it. They don't get lost just because they don't find a way. They they're missing because a mudslide inside of the Darien disappeared them. A natural disaster disappeared them inside of the Darien Gap. A kidnapping in the borders between Mexico and the United States in the back of a tractor trailer in the south border of Mexico. Basically, that disappeared him. In Mexico, from grabbing a tractor trailer from Mexico all the way to the borders of the north borders, disappeared. There's evidence all over the place about that. I have not written a piece about it because it takes time, and really I have all this, trips that I got to go and all this kind of stuff. It will be nice if I wrote an article. Now, I want everybody to know that for you guys to understand what is going to happen in the next thing coming, just make an announcement right here. And let me see if I can just drop this picture right here. Let me see, airdrop Oscar Mac Pro right here. There we go. Let me see, where is it? Okay. I think it was, I don't see, where is it? Oh, there we go. Okay, I will say this lastly, but we have a book coming out, and it is called Darien and the Caravans. Darien and the Caravans. It is talking about all my experiences inside of the Darien and out and in the caravans. Touching on the topic, you have a lot of Republicans going down there. I know, the Democrats, a lot of people saying they don't go, Oscar. The Democrats, they don't. Give it a like to this video and share the video if you care. Give it a like to this video and share the video. But, somebody's asking, Oscar, any other bodies recovered from the Darien Gap? Yes, and that's what I'm trying to do with this young lady, that his brother is already reported missing. And because of what we have done in our platforms and Instagram, and also in our platforms and TikTok, that I use Instagram and TikTok mostly. Instagram bilingual, TikTok I use it only in Spanish. And because of that, they send the video of the young kid right here that he was found apparently without life inside of the Darien. Because of that, So those kind of situations we find them. So talking about, a lot of people say, why the Democrats, they don't go. The congressional Democrat, average congressional Democrat, or the average senator Democrat, he doesn't show to the voter. You know why? Because they have their NGOs, because they have their Santa's little helpers. They don't need to go. That's why they have their groups and they pay them. That's why they keep funding with these federal grants, all these NGOs that they are basically in cahoots with the Democratic Party. It's just obvious. We have a lot of them over here in California that are funded by Chuck Schumer. A lot of them. You have a lot of them in Texas that they are aiding and abetting with Veronica Escobar, and Veronica Escobar, funds them, and Veronica doesn't even show to El Paso voter because she's just like, who cares? I got my NGOs right there working. But you have these 60 plus Republicans that just went down there. I'm not criticizing, the idea of going down there. I'm not, saying that it was wrong for them to, to get together and go down there and show what's going on. Ted Cruz has gone down, has gone down there, and I believe that he's one of the most strongest guys, that he has been fair on the border and said, like, this is what's going on. This, I will give it to you. Let me tell you something. After Ted Cruz completely destroyed Alejandro Mayorkas in the congressional hearing, I thought that Alejandro Mayorkas was going to get fired. And after that, it's like he didn't even get a scratch. So I'm like, how in the hell is this guy going to? It's just, it looks like, it looks like, and it feels like, and it smells like, really, like Alejandro Mayorkas. It doesn't even matter how many people die. It doesn't even matter how much harm he has caused to the continent of America. It doesn't even matter how much harm he has caused to his own border. He's not going to get fired. Is not going to get fired. There's some questions right here and some comments. I will read some questions and some comments. Let me just see right here. It's a comment. This is a comment from, my God, where is the comment? Okay, right here. Sadly, and on X, say hello to all of our people on X, on Twitter. Sadly, the Republicans are useless. They are in control of the House. 26, therefore, a purse of strings. Not only if you're talking about some Republicans that are useless, how about the Democratic Party? It's a complete disaster. It's disgusting, a complete disaster. All this transgenderism, all this labeling parents as terrorists, as domestic terrorists, all this complete, disaster of aiding and abetting NGOs to take care of people. This complete disaster of, it's just a disaster. The Democratic Party is a disaster. I'm just saying. Oscar, ask Kamala why the border staying open, and what about the 85,000 children? Is there proof of that? Because everybody's talking about 85,000 children, and there's theories, and there's only all these documentaries, and this guy said it, and this guy. We know that there's a lot of missing children. Watch some of the congressional hearings. I've been watching some of the congressional hearings, and I will not ask Kamala why the border is still open. I will not ask Kamala why the border is still open. Why should I ask that? Everybody, every journalist asks that. Are we going back to the same, give me you go to the hamburger drive-through and say, like, give me a number 2, extra French fries. The same thing. Is the border open or is this closed, Mr. Biden? The border is not, it's like a recital. Why should I ask that? The question that it needs to be asked. And ultimately, and I'm not preaching to the choir. Somebody's saying, you're preaching to the choir. We all want it to stop as well. Republicans and Democrats are one unit party, sad to say, think there will be militia. No, I'm not. I'm speaking my facts. I'm not trying to talk to no choir. If you want to listen, stay. If you don't want to listen, go away. But the only question that I will ask to these people, and nobody has asked this, I have said it in multiple mainstream invitations that I have been, multiple hits, multiple broadcasts with networks, nobody asked this question. Are you a collaborator of the Global Compact of Migration? If she says we are collaborating with the United Nations to provide humanitarian help to every migrant so they can have an opportunity for refugee and asylum, that is your problem. That is your problem. The United States of America has given the sovereignty and the immigration law to the hands of the United Nations. That is the problem. Why nobody, if I was standing in front of Karen Jean-Pierre, in front of her, I will be standing in front of her, Karen Jean-Pierre, and say, for 4 years, Ms. Pierre, they have asked you if the border is open, if the border is closed, multiple arguments. You have sent military, you not, la this, la that. I don't care about that. We already know that there people are fleeing, people are coming in by the masses. I want to ask you something. Are you a collaborator of the Global Compact of Migration, the United States of America? Are they collaborating with the Global Compact of Migration? Are you collaborating with them? And she's going to say, absolutely, yes. There's no other way. If she denies it, it's basically not being on her own narrative and on her own agenda. She's going to say, yes, we're collaborating with the United Nations to try to help and la this, la that. When you are part of the Global Compact of Migration, let me just write it down right here. Gosh, darn it, man. I have done this so many times. Top 10. Let me just put it on the screen. Global Compact. There you go. Here we go. Let me see if I can find the top 10. Here we go. Top 10. I don't like to do this, man, but I always do this because people need to understand why this is exacerbated, why this problem is still continuing. And nobody's talking about this. Oh, the border's open. Oh, they have a purpose to completely, bring new voters, and is the replacement theory and all this kind of stuff. Yes, we all know that. Yeah. Who's running it? Who's running your borders? And it's just I don't have to. So many times I have said this so many times. These are the top 10 things of the Global Compact of Migration, who was brought to the West Hemisphere by Barack Obama himself. Barack Obama brought the Global Compact on Migration, the first caravans, and whoever, a liberal, progressive, white, mercenary liberal. Let me talk to you. To you, white, progressive, mercenary liberal, that you're saying the caravan started under Trump. Shut the hell up. Do not lie. Do not use us to lie to your political agenda. No, it didn't start it. In 2015, the largest caravan that has ever arrived by people from Haiti started here in Tijuana. Large caravan of more than 15,000 people. And before that, there were small groups arriving from Venezuela, from Honduras, from El Salvador. There's pictures, there's evidence, but you clearly, the progressive, the liberal, does not like the truth. This is number one. Top 10 things of, look, let me just give you right here on the top so you guys will not understand. 10 acts of the Global Compact. A civil society vision for a transformative agenda for human mobility, migration, and development. These are the top 10. Let me read it to you. And I will just read the top so you guys can understand what every single thing references to. This is why Europe was a complete disaster, and Spain got out of it, Germany got out of it, a lot of countries got out of it because they could not control it. France is having a humongous problem. Huge problem. Act 1, drivers of human mobility. Act 1 says, act to end the drivers of forced displacement, and normalize and facilitate a migration by choice, which this is the actual number one thing, that everybody's migrating by choice to the United States. A lot of them migrate by choice to whatever place, but this is number one. Number 2, safe pathways for human mobility. There's no safe pathways in the United Nations. Every safe pathway ends on people having a worst migration experience ever. And we can actually see it in the Darien Gap, Central and South America. Says act to enhance safe and regular affordable pathways. There's caravans that are being built because people do not have the money to pay a document. Affordable pathways and opportunities for human mobility that comply with human rights. This is why you have a lot of NGOs. Act 3, act to meet the needs and respect and protect and fulfill the human rights of all migrants and refugees in distress, in transit, at borders, and at destination, and end their criminalization and detention. Do you get Act 3? Do you actually get Act 3? Act 3, let me read it again so you guys can understand why massive influx is coming in through non-ports of entry. And if you talk about people entering through non-port of entry, you are in the same pathway. You have to end their you cannot criminalize a person to entering to a non-port of entry. This is Act 3. Act 3, to meet the needs and respect and protect and fulfill the human rights of all migrants and refugees in distress, in transit, at borders, and at destination, and end their criminalization and detention. This is why they are being released. This is why people, when they get to their destination, that is the United States, and it has a lot of points right here. I have read it so many times, but this is why when they arrived and they entered the United States of America, they're being released. Oh my God, they're being released. They're being released. They're not being processed. They're like, this, that, this. It's part of the global compact on migration. Joe Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas, they're following their boss, that is the UN. The UN basically tells them, you don't have to detain. You just process them and then let them go. They are on their way to their fulfillment. This is the number one reason why. Number 4, look at number 4. Act to promote safe and decent labor mobility, working conditions, and labor rights for migrants and refugees. This is why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it is fighting continuously, because they say that the United States is violating international treaties. Hear what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has said multiple times on a screen, on a TV. Just watch her, how she acts. She says, we can end this crisis, and we can end this by providing jobs and by providing this and by providing that. And the United States current administration with the Republican Party, it is dividing and it's criminalizing migrants by not providing jobs under international treaties. This is point number 4. A lot of people are going to say, well, she's crazy. Well, according to her manual, she's right. Why? Because the current administration, it is under the Global Compact on migration, and the Global Compact says that if you're a collaborator, you got to go with number 4. And what is number 4? You have to promote safe and decent labor mobility, working conditions and labor rights for migrants and refugees. That's number 4. Let's go with number 5. Decent living conditions and access to justice. This is why you had a lot of people living in these 5-star hotels. I don't have no problem with people living in a better place. Really, I don't. I'm a migrant myself. I believe that migration is a human right. Yes. But I'm just reading what the Global Compact is and what the United States is going through. It says act to ensure safe and decent living conditions and access to social services and justice for all migrants and refugees. Sounds like a pretty, like an anarchy kind of number article, but it's number 5. It says act to ensure safe and decent living conditions and access to social services and justice to all migrants and refugees. This is why a lot of them, do you have phones? A lot of them, they have, all this accessibility, they, the new processing centers that they are, and shelters that they are being built in the United States of America. A lot of the, warehouses that they're being now housed, and they're being now basically used for processing migrants and to keep migrants in their time frame that they will find a job, like the article number 4 says of the Global Compact on Migration. So it is, somebody saying right here, Terry B., the Global Compact on Migration, it is not a legal document. Yes, it is a legal document, and it is not a voluntary compliance. It is a treaty. And if it was illegal, a lot of countries will be violating their own law. It is a treaty. You basically surrender your immigration law to the compliance of human rights of the United Nations. Number 6, education and skills. Act to provide quality education and development care for all children and improving student mobility, learning opportunities, and recognition skills and qualifications, which they're not doing anything, which they're not doing squat, which they're not helping children, which I have seen children walking on caravans, in which I have seen children suffering in the Darien Gap and in caravans. And ultimately, not only that, but also children suffering in Central and South America, asking for money in the streets and basically suffering. I have seen it. You're a liar, Global Compact. You're not doing that. Number 7, and I'm reading it again. Inclusion, the word, my God, so for God's sake. Inclusion and action against discrimination. Inclusion. Act to promote social cohesion and inclusion of migrants and refugees into societies and combat all forms of xenophobia, racism, and discrimination. This is why you have these NGOs that they are continuously going over there and saying, no, you cannot record. No, you cannot do. No, you cannot do that. Although you can record, but who you with? I'm with CNN. Oh, come in here. You're a buddy of mine. Who you with? I'm with the Daily Beast. Who you with? Democracy Now. Who you with? With Al whatever. Who you with? Oh, come in. You guys, yes. Who are you with? Fox? Oh no, you're not. Who you? Real Americans? Oh my God, you're racist. Oh, who? No. Oh my God, no. No. Whoever we say yes, you no, and no. This has happened before in migrant camps where the progressive, mercenary, white liberal takes over the migrant camps in a foreign country and dictates who can enter and who cannot through a non-governmental organization that is completely registered in Mexico. Isn't that fun? Point number 9, rights to return and reintegration. Act to develop a global principles on the governments of return, reintegration, and alternatives to return to guarantee the rights, safety, and dignity of all migrants and refugees in these contexts. A lie, another lie of the Global Compact on Migration. You haven't done that. You don't respect the word migrant. And if you would have helped migrants themselves, they would not be dying in the Darien Gap. That is where you have to be. Not making a global document. You're not even saving people, saving lives, saving women, women migrants from being abused in insecure places. Number 10, and the last one, act to create a transparent, accountable, and participatory mechanisms and means of implementation for rights based on global governments of human mobility and migration. I will read a little bit about this act so you can understand the power of the United Nations that has over human mobility. And what is this human mobility? It is called safe mobility. I talked about this like 1 week ago. Safe mobility programs are sponsored by who? Safe mobility programs that they are in, these programs are implemented in Central and South America. Guess who's sponsoring them? The United States of America. And safe mobility programs are a place where you can assure that the migrants are moving fast forward into their purpose, that is basically the United States, but in a safe pathway. That is a lie. So you have this right here, number 10. But look what it says on number 10. It says, act, it says, act to create a transparent, accountable, and participatory mechanisms and means and of implementation for rights based on global governance of human mobility and migration. What is 10.1? The point right there. Look what it says. Look who has the power of safe mobility in the borders. Who has it? And by this is why people are asking me, why you don't ask if you had Kamala Harris, you ask her why the borders open. What the hell, that question everybody knows. Why? Where do you get this idea that this is correct? And then you ask this question. And look at this. It's number 10. It says United Nations leadership on human mobility. Who's under safe mobility? The United States. Who's the leader? The United Nations. It says right here. It says strengthen the UN leadership, long-term strategies, and capacity for facilitating human mobility, development and human rights to facilitate international cooperation and responsibility sharing among states, to undertake rapid and rights-based on responses to migrants and refugees in need, and to translate global commitments into national targets and strategies. Strengthen the leadership includes further integration of the International Organization of Migration, that is the OIM, who has control of your border, in the UN system, in alignment of its mandate and operations with the UN Charter and the IOM's UN Corporation Agreement. Do I need to be more clear? Or do I need to be more transparent? Or of who runs your show? Of who runs the show in your borders? Do I need to be more transparent or more clear? I think that I cannot. Somebody saying right here, again, the same argument. The GCM is not a legal document. Yes, it is. It's a voluntary compliance. No, it's not. U.S. laws take precedence. That's what you say. Our immigration laws are not being enforced. We need to enforce our laws. The Global Compact on Migration, it is a legal document that is spread over an agreement in the global, in the United Nations global compliance, that is a treaty. And then you sign it in an international agreement with the United Nations. So it's a legal document. Under their government, it is a legal document. Under the we, the people, like you say, we the people, we did not agree. We the people, we do not. We the people, we did not vote it. We the people, we did not went to a poll and voted if we wanted to be part of it. We the people would not go to the Senate. We the people did not go to Congress. Under your idea, yes, it is not a bill, or it is not a policy that it needs to pass through a hey, nay. No, it is a treaty, an international treaty that is signed legally by your government without your consent. How many documents and how many treaties and how many international agreements have been signed without your consent. I will ask you, did that make it legal? Did that make it illegal? So I don't know if I had to make it a little bit more clear, but if I were to ask a question to the actual administration of the United States, it will be this. And with this, you will have order of what their agenda is. Their agenda of the United Nations is no borders, no international border whatsoever. Uh, and that's it. That's whatever comes next. That a lot of people have the theories of, oh, they're bringing them to boat, or they're bringing them to replacement theory, or they're, you know, uh, cheap labor, and oh, la, 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 this, all these ideas that a lot of people have. That's secondary. The first thing that it is obvious what the United Nations want, it is that a border is not existent. They do not want a border to be exist. And the ones that they want to control the borders and the sovereignty of every country starts at a border, it is the United Nations. By you giving the power of your border to the United Nations, this is what it will happen. I'm not against people finding a better life. Again, to the average progressive mercenary white liberal, I'm not against migration. No, I'm all for it. I'm a pro-migrant myself. I believe migration is a human right. Whatever you agree or not, for me, it's a human right. But there's processes and there's ways to do it. What the Global Compact on Migration has done, it sounds so pretty and it sounds so nice, but it's a complete disaster. What they have done is just open a great window to the organized crime and the cartel to make more money. And it has gotten out of their control. And whatever it says on those 10 points, it is not even accurate. It is not even happening. And it has gotten exacerbated out of hand in terms to huge amounts of money. It's the way it is. There's a question right here, and there was a comment. This is a question right here. Trump took the USA out of that. Yes, he did. He said he will have a mass deportation project when he is reelected. Will he be able to do that? Sheesh. I think that I have had this conversation with a lot of Republicans, and I have had this conversation with a lot of, Trumpers, followers of Donald Trump. And I had this conversation with some Democrats. And, I will tell you, I believe that is a bad strategy. Not, I believe that is a bad strategy for him to start saying it right now. And for him to spread this idea that he's going to do a massive, massive deportation. If you're going to tell me, do you agree, Oscar? Do you not agree? I'm a Mexican citizen. What do you want me to say? You're crucifying me with that. I'm not going to answer that. What I'm telling you is that he's making a big mistake. And I believe that he's making a mistake. Why? And now that I have a reason. And here's my justification and my reason why. And a lot of the average American is going to say, I don't care. We don't want them. We don't want this. We don't want that. It's a taxpaying money and la this. And I understand. Get off your high horse and understand what I'm trying to say. I do not believe that is a good strategy because election time is coming. What you're saying to the whole continent of America, it is that if I make it to government, I am going to do a massive deportation. So you have a time frame from January 2024 till November of 2024 to make it. I believe that 2024, it is going to create, because of this massive, speech about massive deportation, what is going to create is that a massive wave, it is going to come before election time is ending. Massive. Already, people in South America and in Central America, they are preparing for this massive wave. They are preparing for this massive wave. My God, Lisa Murphy, your comment, I'm seeing it right now. My God, your comment, it is holy crap, man. I understand that a lot of people are for massive deportation and people are not, but holy crap, your comment, it is so full with hate. And I'm not a libtard. I'm a full man, but I'm just saying there's ways to say it. And I'm not even going to read your comment. I'm just going to leave it right there. I believe strongly that he should have a strategy. If he is candidate to win, needs to have a strategy for this, to how to speak about this topic, that it will not backfire to him. And this is the way that I have to say it. If you're preaching continuously that you're going to do a massive deportation, hundreds of thousands are going to come. More. Hundreds of thousands. And they're going to be like, on the ballots, man, Trump is up 5%. Let's make it. And a lot of people are going to risk their lives. And a lot of people are going to be, having a critical situation. The organized crime is going to have a massive year. The cartel is going to have a massive year of making money. A lot of trafficking of people, trafficking children, trafficking. Oh my God, this is going to get exacerbated. And possibly, I'm just making a prediction, it's going to be out of control. Because it is a massive, massive deportation that is going to be happening. You're asking me, what would you do? I'm not a Department of Homeland Security chief. I am not a candidate for president, and I'm not, I don't work for United States Customs, and I don't work for the Border Patrol. I'm a journalist. So I'm reading just what I believe. And the most important thing about this is that when you're saying this, what is going to be created inside of the United States, that is the aggravating problem. Why? Because let me just explain to you, and let me just give you a topic, and I will just copy paste, of what I believe. When Joe Biden said, I want everybody to search the border, it is recorded. He said that. He said that before he won to be president. He said, I want everybody to search the border. He said that. And he also said, I am going, in compliance with that speech. He also said before he won to be president, he said, I am going to document more than 11 million undocumented individuals. Also, he said, I'm going to provide 120,000 migrants to 3 ports of entry into the United States of America, whether they enter legally, with a permit, and I will provide them work permits. This is a complete lie. All 3 points that he pandered to the Latino population. This is why the white progressive mercenary liberal, they come to our country and they use us for their political gain and votes and propaganda, and to win their elections. So they bring their hatred and they use us, the minority, that is a denigrating term, and then they use us for their political votes, as Black Lives Matter try to use the Hispanics for them to riot and loot. We need to unite, it's all against the white man. Yeah, just unite. Yeah, use the other race. Exactly, the white liberal, they do that. So Joe Biden did that. He used the Latinos to pander in their opinion in their heads that they were going to. Has he done that? He has not complied with the 3 of them. As a matter of fact, it's the complete opposite. More migrants have died under his administration, and the organized crime of the cartel has exacerbated, grown. And whoever does not see it is because they don't live over here. And whoever does live over here and you're a foreigner, you don't see it since we were born here. So What I believe strongly is when he's preaching about that, a massive wave is going to come massively. When Joe Biden did that and he won to be president, 2 days before he won, there was a 9,000 migrant caravan heading from Honduras into the borders of Guatemala. And it got stopped by the Guatemala government. Massively, people started coming. Massively. So when you are, and I'm just speaking on my own as a non-political party guy. When you're telling the world that you're going to do a massive deportation, what do you think it's going to happen? From where I believe, in my experience, I believe that a flood of migrants are going to come massively, leaving their homes because there's the only last opportunity for them to enter the United States of America, and they're going to risk it all. Sadly, a lot of people possibly are going to lose their lives. I'm predicting the sad part about it and the good part about it. A lot of people are going to be, oh my God, I cannot even imagine. And it's going to grow massively. And not only that, the complete distortion that is going to be created inside of the government or inside of the United States is going to be, shoo. Now, the justification to say they're going to do it regardless if Trump talks about it or not, it is just an average justification, a cheap average justification. Is the average to say there's a lot of trafficking of fentanyl well, it has happened before. There's a lot of trafficking of children where it has happened before. Oh, there's a lot of irregularities at the border and a lot of people are dying. Well, it has happened before. Don't justify with a loser justification. That is just a pander to your narrative. This is the reality. If this becomes a thing before elections, and if Donald Trump is up in the polls and is up like 5%, let's say in the polls, hypothetical example, let's move forward to November. And let's say not even November, let's move to June. If you start moving up the polls 5%, what would you think the majority of the migrants that they are undocumented in the United States of America, who is going to trigger them to start to protest, to not get deported, to start to basically possibly legitimately be promoting another political party and be indirectly involved in going into rallies into other political parties? And ultimately, massive protests are going to be occurring inside of the United States of America, like it happened with who? Black Lives Matter. With who? Antifa. Be aware of these radical, mercenary, white liberal activist groups and organizations who are going to use the migrants for their political narrative and votes and propaganda. This is why I have said it before. We do not need your trash to the white mercenary activist liberal. Stay with it in your country. We have a lot of problems over here. There's a reason why I say it. And it is because I'm fast forwarding to election time this year in the middle of June, July, I don't know, August, where this becomes an actual fact that the candidates, Kennedy, Biden, and Trump are right there. And Kennedy is more, I'll stay in the middle. Biden, we already know his destruction, fear-mongering, warmongering narrative. And then you have Trump. And Trump is going to say, I am going to do a massive deportation. What do you think that is going to happen when he is up 5% on the polls? You have millions of immigrants right now that they're undocumented in the United States of America. Of course, he's not going to deport all. He's going to do a study possibly for the ones that they qualify. They did not qualify, excuse my language, that those that do not qualify under the statement of refugee and asylee, and that the majority are economical migrants and that they entered through a non-port of entry. Those ones, I believe that he is going to start deporting all. And those ones are a massive, massive amount of people. You're not talking about just 5,000. You're not talking about just 10,000. You're not talking about 20. You're talking about millions of people. It is going to create a lot of an instability. I'm just being honest. This is why speech, it is so important when you stand on a pedestal, and ultimately when you stand on a pedestal and you speak about it, you have to be really careful of what you say, because ultimately everything can take out of context and everything can be plastered into another phase. And this one, you're saying there's going to be a massive deportation. What do you think the collateral effects of that statement is going to cost? A lot of the Americans, they're tired of it. A lot of the US citizens are tired of it. They say, we don't care what the collateral effect it is, what the collateral effect it is not. I'm just predicting what it can happen. I'm not for with. I'm just predicting what it can happen. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm just predicting what can happen with this kind of speech. I'm not against, I'm not for. I'm just saying what can happen. That's what I believe. And strongly, it's really difficult to try to understand. I'm sorry if I extended on your point, or I extended on whatever your question was. I will answer one more question. This is another comment. And what if DeSantis is the nominee? He can win. Chances are Trump won't. In general, DeSantis is a neocon, man. Leave it alone. It's a puppet. He's soft. I'm just saying. We cannot put as a political candidate a person that, it's like Republicans defending Dan Crenshaw. You have to be kidding me. Whoever defends Dan Crenshaw is just, you're against your own you're against your own constitution, man. I believe that there's more people that they're constituents, that there are more Republicans, because the Republican Party right now, it is so corruptibly hijacked by the Democratic Party, really. I believe strongly that a lot of Republicans are comfortably, they don't want to lose their power. They don't want to lose their job. They do not want to lose their admission to be, their admission to be reelected. So they're comfortable right now for whatever decision it is made. So really, these are the kind of comments that I always think, like, I know that you can give me better, man. These are the kind of comments that I believe that, man, I know that your mind can give me better answer, man. I know that you can give me way better than this. I know that you can think more. I know this cannot be a mind of an American citizen. This cannot be an answer of a US citizen. I don't believe. I don't think that this account is from a U.S. citizen. Really, I don't. I don't believe that that is an answer from somebody. Well, they come from China. Send them back to China. Well, they come from Indonesia. Send them back to Indonesia. Like, I don't think that that's. Come on. Come on. I know that you can give me better, man. I know that you can. Uh, really racist comment. This is the kind of situations. Thanks to these kind of comments, uh, there's no solution whatsoever. Thanks to these, comments right here. These are the kind of comments that will really legitimately divide the country. That will legitimately, push back on the narrative that a problem will not be fixed. That we will land and we will stay on the plantation. And what is the plantation? Being filled as Mexican, as a Latino, as blacks, as Asians, feeling victimized and romanticized by the white progressive mercenary liberal, that we are victims of the system and it is fault of the white supremacy and the white imperialism. Because of these kind of comments and labeling people and Latinos as this, it is, it is the situation which I believe that is the most aggravated situation whatsoever because of these kind of comments. Latinos are the intrinsical force of the United States of America. They are the ones that they provide the best economy in the man labor to the United States of America, and it is a reality whether you like it or not. The mom and pop businesses on local businesses, and ultimately not even that. The big enterprises like Walmart, Costco, and all that, they live out of the ghost tax. What is the ghost tax? Of the undocumented individual that goes every Saturday and Sunday to buy groceries into your market. So this is really disappointing when you see these kind of comments. Q is a patriot passivization project. People pretend to be patriots to help get rid of neutralize gun owners. The U.S. is the largest army in the world. Get rid of Trump and feel patriot hope. Q, it is a flop. It is Q. The Q movement is one of the worst movements, I believe, in American history. Q is a movement of somebody that doesn't show their face. Q is a conspiracy. Whether you hit the jackpot or you don't hit the jackpot, it's like the lottery. Q is just you push number 5 and possibly you will win $1 million. And you push number 5 and you won $1 million. So he was right. Then you press 6 and then you're saying, oh, you're going to win $100 million, and you don't win 100 million. You lost the 5 million. So it's like Q is a false. It's a false prophet. It's a false everything. I grotesquely, detest Q, really. It is not an informative platform. It is not an informative network. It is just a conspiracy network. They just go by what is underneath the world, and there's monsters on top of Jupiter, and they will come and they will bring a virus and they will spread it all over the global atmosphere, and it is all through the Milky Way, and it's just it is what it is. As a journalist, I can tell you, that's what I believe. Another question, another comment before I go. Well, I don't use that word. I don't use that word. Somebody's using the I word. I don't use that word. Well, I don't know about that. I don't read more. I don't read on Q. I really do not read a lot on Q. I really don't care about that platform. Really, I don't. Um, you can sit down with a person and have a dialogue, and they can say, let's say a hypothetical example. I believe, I don't believe on this. I believe on this. This is my religion. This is what I believe and I believe. That doesn't take away the fact that I can respect you as a human being, because you're a human being at the end of the day, and we are all sons of Jesus, and we are sons of God. So at the end of the day, I have to, if you believe in God, and if you don't, I have to show you how to, if you want me, I can show you. But, we can respect each other. Read the treaty. Again, I already read it. I already read it. You can go and uh, you know, you can go and go back to the video. Jeff Sproul. So, what needs to be done to slow this influx down in your review? As soon as the top three things that I will do if I was if I had the not the power, but if I had the idea, I will get out of the global compact on migration. That will decrease ultimately the funding to the NGOs, that they're only using federal grants to fund this humanitarian crisis to continue, and also living out of human vulnerabilities. They go over there and they say, I don't want you to be talking about this migrants. I don't want to be saying about this migrants. Of course, that's their product. So if they're protecting whatever they're making out of money, they see it as that. They don't see it as human beings. As I have seen it, I have walked with them 3 times in the Darien Gap, walked 11 caravans, and I have seen the actual suffering of people trying to make it to a better life. So I will get out of the global compact on migration. I will criminalize the NGOs that they have been using this for as a business. And I will do a massive investigation of the NGOs that they're still out there working and providing this in cahoots, that they are aligned with the cartels to exacerbate trafficking and smuggling through every border. One. Number two, I will create a better pathway. Yes, there has to be a creator pathway for immigrants to understand an educational platform, for them to understand every process of creating a better life on a different country. Yes, but there has to be an educational way to provide them a pathway for them to understand how can they move from one country to another in the process to do it correctly. Ultimately, that will come with corporate America providing better jobs with better salaries in their foreign countries. This is what corporate America has done. And they have hijacked the capitalist system in Central and South America. That actually, they have done it. If you go to a Burger King in the United States of America, as I have done before, an example, you buy a burger, a combo, and it's $6, and you go to the clerk, and then you say to the clerk how much you're making an hour, and he says $20 an hour. Then you go to Mexico and you go to the Burger King drive-through and you say, how much is combo number 4? And it says it's $6 a combo. And then you go to the clerk and say how much you're making a day, and it says I'm making $100 a week. That is unfair. So corporate America is making 3,000%. 3,000% in Central and South America. If you have created jobs that they pay fairly on these international corporations, that they're going and providing jobs, but ultimately also you have to pay well, you will not have this massive, massive influx of people leaving their homes. And also you will provide a better housing, you will provide better security with better salaries. That's what you will do. So you have to push the corporations of America if they want to be part of this, let's say America First agenda. If they want to be provided with this security on borders, if they want to provide with this, you have to talk to them and tell them, hey, man, we are messing up. We cannot be hijacking the capitalist system in another country. Stop the corruption. Stop giving all the money to these politicians for them to provide the safe pathway for people and the government. Provide a mechanical system where you are going to fund, if you're going to provide jobs in Central and South America, create a task force that you are going to send to those countries and make sure that every penny, every dollar it is spent on education and jobs. Make sure of that. And ultimately, you will create a better, an open window for other corporations to go to other places and provide better jobs. And the economy of the United States of America, it is labeled on international agreements and international capitalism. It is not on just what they provide inside of their country. It's on international treaties and international capitalism. That's what the economy of the United States of America does. That's number two. Number three, secure the border. Combat the organized crime, combat the cartels, and punish the traffickers and punish the smugglers. I'm not saying 1 month, 2 months. No, hell no. There's an act that it was promoted by Marsha Blackburn, a guy named Goodman from Texas, and ultimately another Marsha Blackburn, Goodman, a guy from Texas, and also Matt Gaetz. They were promoting this agreement that is called the End Child Trafficking Act now. This is a punishment for traffickers that they're using children and using people to gain the political system and to cheat on a loophole of immigration, to smuggle and traffic people into the United States of America. And the punishment is up to 10 years in prison. You need to set an example to be an example. So the set an example is you're not playing around, man. I'm not playing around. If you're going to continue to do this, and if I catch you, this is the punishment. So you had to put that punishment, and you had to implement that punishment, and also be in agreement with the other country, your neighboring country, to understand that this is the punishment that you are going to be put on your country. So they will do the same. One example says in another example, and there's a domino effect. You go one by one by one by one. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm about to leave now. God bless you guys. Buy me a coffee is on the bottom link. If you guys like to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund, it is right there on the bottom link. Thank you so much for everybody to be joining in, talking about this. And clearly, you know, well, these are my points of view. A lot of people are going to agree. A lot of people are not going to agree. They agree to disagree. You know, a lot of people say, a lot of Republicans say, there's no other way to do it, Oscar. It has to be said. I see it on the other side, on the Mexican side. I see it at how contradictional this is going to cause and how the collateral effect that is going to cause. I just see it on that, on my own perspective. Everybody has their own perspective, you know, but, you know, this is what I see. You know, this is the way that I see it, and this is the way that I persuade the whole situation that is going to be handled in 2024 when these elections start. There's 3 elections that are extremely important. And also the Panamanian election is going to be extremely important. I forgot about that. You know, the president of Panama, there's another president that is going to come in on this administration. Let's see what happens. You know, let's see what happens with this other president that is going to come in. Panama, because the situation in Panama in terms of the Darien Gap, if you have a progressive leftist president, oh my God, it's going to get worse, and worse. So, you know, Cortizo's trying to do the best that he can, and I think that he's a good man. But let's see what happens. Also, elections in El Salvador, that is a no-brainer. Bukele is going to win. But the top 3 elections that I see is Venezuela, Mexico, and the United States. Those top 3 elections, we are going to basically understand what is going to happen in the future of Venezuela, that if they're going to continue under a dictatorship or under a dictatorship of Nicolás Maduro in the communist system. And ultimately, Mexico, let's see, for the first time ever, there's going to be a woman for a president. So let's see which of the two it is going to be president. None of the two have the capabilities and the capacities to be president, really. We're going to have the most low IQ president possibly in history. I'm not saying because it is a woman. I'm just saying because of the candidates. They don't have really. We have more smarter and more capable women than those two. My God, that does not represent our women of Mexico. We have really smart and intelligent and dedicated and political perfection of a woman that we can put on a pedestal. Those two, they don't represent our country. But That's the way it is. On the right and on the left, we have the worst candidates. And the United States of America, it is the #1 election that is extremely important, that is going to be extremely important, and that is going to be the most important of all. So let's see what happens. And let's see what is going to be the collateral effect of these, a lot of the statements that are being released under, not only the Republican Party, but under the Democratic Party and under Kennedy also. So God bless you all. Stay safe. And take care of yourselves. It's nice talking to you guys on today. God bless you all. Like we always say, people, God's plan, it is our mission. Thank you for being with us today.
We're here with in CPAC Mexico with the president of Mis amigos migrantes, pues aquí estoy.
Total catastrophe, and it is a crisis.
Of a child, right there. All these NGOs, you're fake. It is this.